I know that it can be hard to get your head around NFTs or non-fungible tokens. Even though they're one of the biggest booms right now in the Web 3.0 world, very few people actually understand really what they are. Right now, these digital assets are taking the world by storm, and they're turning early adopters into millionaires overnight. Venture capitalists are also plowing millions of dollars into this digital art, into buying virtual land, and into online collectibles. And they're calling it the new frontier for investors looking for big returns in crypto. Yet, if you start reading about NFTs, it makes most people's heads start to spin because of all the complicated information about there. So today on Renegade News, I'm going to explain exactly what an NFT is, and more importantly, why it's so important to understand what they are. Welcome back to Renegade News. I'm your host, Glenn Kowalski. Every week on this channel, we discuss the latest news, strategies, and tactics for breaking free from the system, paying less tax, and living anywhere in the world that you want. So let's just jump right on into it by discussing what NFTs are. And the simplest way to think of NFTs or non-fungible tokens is they're referring to a digital token that is used to guarantee the ownership of a specific asset that lives on the blockchain. So this NFT asset could be anything, but most are in the form of pieces of digital artwork or other forms of media like video clips, audio files, and blockchain gaming items. This might change in the future, but right now, the digital art and the digital gaming world have really gravitated to this new technology. The blockchain is the decentralized network behind many cryptocurrencies. Because of its unique cryptographic nature, the NFT, the non-fungible token, on a blockchain cannot be replicated or copied. That's one of the powers. We've talked about that a lot in our Bitcoin videos. Bitcoin was obviously the first to popularize that blockchain technology, but since then, many other exciting networks have sprung up that look to actually improve on the foundations that Bitcoin has set. Ethereum, for example, is one of those networks, and it's become the leader within the NFT space. Other networks that are heavily involved in NFTs are Solana, Cardano, and the Binance Smart Chain. An NFT and a share of stock in a company are both assets, but the difference between the two comes down to how you actually realize the value of those assets. While the value of a company's stock can be quantitatively assessed by studying its revenue model and its balance sheet and other factors, an NFT, like most art, is more subjective. And that's probably why the art world has gravitated more. But that basically means its value is what collectors say it's worth. And this can understandably make NFTs a little bit tricky because it's a little bit more about the art than it is about the science. At the end of the day, though, you don't physically own the share of a company in the same way you don't physically own an NFT. Now, if we continue with this shares in a company analogy, an NFT project like CryptoPunks is similar to a business. Content creators form an NFT project in much the same way that you might form a company. And in the same way that most small businesses fail, NFTs are very similar, and that most of the NFT projects that are being minted right now will eventually fail too. And just like investing in the stock market, buying NFTs is basically betting. Although, because of what we talked about earlier, where stocks you can kind of take a more quantitative value of, whereas NFTs are more of a subjective measure, I would contend that NFTs are more like betting. Now, some people have bet on the right NFT project, just like some investors have bet on the right unicorn company. And those unicorn companies really were a bet. Of course, successful NFT projects make the most noise on Twitter and places like Reddit, but that doesn't mean that all NFTs will be cash cows. There are, however, a few NFT projects that have done exceptionally well. And one of the examples of that is CryptoPunks, which was one of the first NFT projects to launch on Ethereum, and it launched back in 2017. This consisted of these pixelated profiles of these characters called cyberpunks. And it's reminiscent of something you could have made on Paint back in Windows 1995. They're very pixelated little images. And because it lacks apparent artistic value, it's really hard to see why these cyberpunks are selling for millions of dollars. But this project, like so many others, are less about the visual value of the art itself, but more about what the art actually represents. For modern day collectors, the code itself is the art. And CryptoPunks are also the byproduct of a concept that the code itself is that art. Now, if you've never written a line of code, you might not realize what a cyberpunk actually is. With cyberpunks, all 10,000 tokens are uniquely minted by lines of code. And each profile was created without any human assistance. They have this artistic value because they represent a new medium of art called generative art. And that's art that's being generated by machines. So as we move from the industrial age into the digital age, owning a cyberpunk is like owning a little piece of history, very similar to owning a light bulb fashioned by Thomas Edison or an original Model T manufactured by Ford would be worth an exceptional value in the future because of their historical value. Visa, one of the largest payment processing companies in the world, purchased a CryptoPunk in 2021. Christie's, the famous auction house, is going all in on NFTs. Right now, because NFTs are so hot, there are many others. There's the Bored Ape Yacht Club and VFriends. And you can read more about those two particular projects in our blog post, NFTs, Valuable Asset Class or Passing Trend. I'm going to post a link to that down in the description. NFTs can represent real-world items like artwork and real estate. And personally, real estate is where I see a big potential market for managing contracts and ensuring that contracts are non-duplicatable and non-counterfeitable. What they're doing is they're tokenizing these real-world tangible assets, and that makes buying, selling, and trading them much more efficient. And it also reduces the probability of fraud, like I just talked about. NFTs can also function to represent individual identities, property rights, and much more. And that's why we see digital IDs being one application of these NFTs, and maybe one that's a little scary depending on how those digital IDs are actually implemented. Technically, if they're implemented the proper way on the blockchain, they'll provide a way to prove your identity without actually giving away any identifiable information. So you really want to join our channel right now to not miss our next talk about these evolving use cases of NFTs. All NFTs are created on the blockchain, and they allow one person and one person only to transfer ownership to another person. However, as I said before, not all NFT projects will succeed, and most will actually fail. The value of an NFT project depends on the cultural trends, which can change at a moment's notice. This, however, does not make the NFT just a fad though. The metaverse is coming, and NFTs are going to play a very vital role in that metaverse. It's likely hard to see that right now because it hasn't been built yet. And in much the same ways, it was probably hard to imagine the explosion of suburbia before a car became the staple of American transportation. As the world goes digital, new asset classes like NFTs will exist exclusively in the digital world. One of the main appeals of investing in NFT art is the potential value increases that may occur over time. A prime example of this is CryptoPunk 1422, which was purchased for $74 back in 2017. However, Business Insider recently noticed that the NFT was sold in October 2021 for an incredible $2 million. So this highlights an example of the potential that many NFTs have for dramatic price appreciation. Investing in NFTs doesn't just provide investors with a cool piece of art or music. It often includes scope to attain exclusive bonus content. There are many examples of this already, although a prime example is when NFT collection creators are going to invite owners to events, or they're going to provide additional NFTs via an airdrop. An airdrop is basically a distribution of cryptocurrency, tokens, or NFTs that are sent to a Web3 wallet, addressed for free as a promotion or as an added value for participating in an experience or for purchasing a digital asset. So it's basically just a bonus of extra NFTs, extra value if you purchase at a given time. And you're seeing this more and more. You're also seeing this even with free NFTs where they're giving you extra value during airdrops in order to increase the scope and the popularity of an NFT. In the future, high NFTs will often allow owners to be part of exclusive communities. And that adds to the prestige of owning the asset. Think about a gold club, but now you have a club for people who just own a specific set of NFTs. A famous example of this is the Bored Ape Yacht Club. And they operate a Discord server that's filled with other Bored Ape owners. And that includes celebrities and includes a lot of high profile names. And by owning that Bored Ape NFT, you get to be part of that club. Owners can also get access to the bathroom, which is a community-driven graffiti board. Another reason that you may want to purchase an NFT and you want to invest in specific NFTs is so that you can support the creator that you're a fan of. NFTs have proven to be a fantastic way for creators to publish work and for fans to show their support by buying that work and by buying NFTs of that work. And that fits into the other areas where you're actually getting prestige by buying an NFT from this this artist or this creator that you support. But it's a great way to support them and a great way for those artists to monetize and continue doing what they're doing. And finally, since NFTs are non-fungible by design, many NFT owners will display their assets as their profile pictures on social media. This highlights to others that the prestigious NFT that they own and the NFT cannot be copied because ownership is solidified through the blockchain technology. NFTs are minted or created on individual project websites. So you can either buy a newly minted NFT from the creator, or you can go to a marketplace such as OpenSea, for example. This process mirrors how companies sell shares of their stocks. When a company forms, it mints shares and it puts a particular value to them. Early investors can then purchase those shares directly from the company. Once the company then goes public, anyone can buy shares via brokerage platforms like TD Ameritrade, for example. Clearly, NFTs represent a massive opportunity. And for any renegade who's looking for more income, they should be diving further into this market now while it's still in the gold rush, the Wild West stages that we're in right now. But there's more to growing an income than just investing. And that's why every week we discuss topics like business growth, cryptocurrencies, and escaping the matrix into a new way of looking at life and lifestyle and a new way of looking at the world that we're moving into. So be sure to subscribe to Renegade News right now for the latest information on making more money and living with more freedom and liberty in this unfree world. And don't forget to click on the video that you see on the screen right now for our latest upload, which will talk about those topics, crypto and growing a business, and so much more. This is Glenn Kowalski from Renegade News, and I'll see you over there.